and I was unaware of it. I am aware of the euthanasia conversation that's been happening. I've been sharing on it on Instagram and Twitter and all that. Canada is now in 2023 going to make it legal for assisted suicide to be done for those with mental health issues. I've saw in Instagram someone that came in and made a statement that they're a nurse and yada yada yada, and we don't know how these people are suffering and all this kind of a stuff. And then they said, it's only for they're gonna have consent, and she was trying to sell everybody in the chat why this is a good idea. And I'm so happy. There's always that ray of hope that that comes when you see the pushback and you're like, okay, thank you. Okay. Because sometimes you're wondering if Canadians have really bought into the nonsense. And then there's always that, yes, okay, we're still standing, because she got pushed back. She got pushed back. Just like, a lot of other things that are trying to assert itself and have a hold in the Canadian fabric of society as who we are. There's an energy that's just really don't want to let Canada go. There's an energy out there that's just not letting go. It's like, it's like a dog on a bone, and it's just like, not letting go. And more I see Canadians are like, you know what? No, you are a bully. Like, this energy is a bully. Before it was like, okay, no, it's not a bully. It's in our best interest. It cares about us. And Canadians were really going along with that narrative. And now more and more saying, no, this is not about you caring about us. You are a bully. And I feel it. I feel it. This is another one. This euthanasia MAiD is another energy that is asserting itself out of Quebec, and wanting that to be a Canada-wide energy. Now, a lot of people talking about Alberta and their sovereignty, and nobody's kicking up a storm when Quebec is doing it and Alberta's doing it. And this is, I think, if I am assessing what I'm feeling, Canada is being intentionally attacked, and you're going to have provinces like Alberta that is going to have to make a stand. And then you'll have that energy that is going to want to now point a finger. And we've been having that energy more in our faces in the last 3 years. Oh, look what they're doing. Look what they're doing. Don't look at us. Don't shine the mirror over here. Don't put the mirror up in our face. But look, let's put the mirror over there. Look what they're doing. And that is this classic of abusers and toxic energy, personally and professionally. In your life, you'll have people that don't want the light shone on them, so they find a way to deflect the light. And, oh, look what she's doing. Look what he's doing. And there's no context. There's no context to, are they not doing that because they have to defend themselves because of what you do? Oh, no. Don't talk about what I did. Don't talk about my dishonesty, my discrepancy, my compromising, my unethical lifestyle, my unethical practices. No, don't talk about that. Just let's focus on look at what they're doing and not caring about something called cause and effect. So Alberta is responding to a cause and effect, and they're realizing that, you know what? We have to, even if we are the only province that's going to set this thing in motion of claiming back Canada one province at a time. We had an opportunity provincially here in Ontario to make Ontario the straw that breaks the camel's back, per se, and have it become contagious where we take back province by province. And I saw and I experienced how energies intentionally sabotage that, and energies allow their own issues to also sabotage. So you had intentional sabotage to not make Ontario be the province to reclaim Canada by setting precedents of claiming a province and then having other province rinse and repeat. So we had an intentional energies and intentional characters and players that made that possible. And then you have unintentional ones. They assisted that by them just being in their own way, making this fight about them and their personal vendettas. And as a result of that, they sabotaged a very good and effective plan that could have taken Ontario back because of their personal issues. So you had two energies that allowed Ontario to still be under siege. So Alberta said, you know what? Hey, if it's going to be, it's going to be me. So I salute on Alberta, because Ontario dropped the ball. Ontarians dropped the ball. And Alberta says, we'll pick it up, and they're running with it. And my prayer is that other provinces would see the bigger picture of what Alberta is doing, that Ontario missed the opportunity to do. So now we have Quebec, that always have this maverick energy, yet still it somehow injects itself into the other provinces by making this a Canadian. So if Quebec wants to euthanize their population, if Quebec wants to go along with reducing the population, keep it in Quebec. The Quebec people need to rise up. Quebec has already tabled, and I'm sure many are not aware of it because we are being distracted by so much shiny objects of Justin Trudeau being in drag shows and new series shows coming up, and oh, we can't forget the World Cup, and like so many different things, and there's some drama, we are not being aware of very pressing and dangerous bills that's coming to Canadians very, very soon. So Quebec has already tabled a bill, and I saw it on Twitter. A member of Parliament shared it. I believed I did share it. I believe I did share it on one of my many platforms. And it is a bill that is now supporting assisted suicide for babies. So notice, and this is the pattern of darkness. It is a copy and print. It doesn't do anything new. There's nothing new in their agenda and how they go about it. It's the same thing. I think the baffling reality is the fact that they haven't changed their game. They haven't changed their playbook, and no one is, you're like, am I the only one saying that they're just copying and pasting the same thing? Just like anything, they start off saying, oh, no, we just want it for over here. We just want our rights just for us. This is not about coming down and infringing on anything else. No, we're not changing anything else. It's just for us. We just want to have the right. And it's always that Pandora box where you give them an inch and they go a mile. You give them a little rope, they turn a cowboy and a cowgirl. You give them a little pinky toe in and they're finding a way for the whole body to come through. But they lie always and say, oh, no. We don't want to change everything. We don't want to demolish everything. We don't want to take away. No. We don't want to. No, it's just for us. And then they go to your heart and they try to appeal to your better sense of humanity. And you said, oh, if it's just for, if you, okay, sure, you can have it. It's just for you. They have rights, and you start, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't say all of a sudden, because that's always been their game plan. They start infringing, and the line starts moving back. The line in the sand that they say they will never cross starts to move back and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, you look up and like, how the heck did we get here? I know how we got here. You allowed a little, and that little was never intent in just claiming a little. That little had no intention of just staying in the little space that it said, oh, I just want this little space. I don't want the whole thing. I just want this little. Where is my right? I just want to look at all that you have. We just want a little. And that's like anything with darkness that contaminates. It starts off small, and its intention is to consume, it's to steal, it's to kill, and it's to destroy. It is never satisfied with what it says it just wants. I just want a little bit. I don't want. So it started off, the euthanasia, with the narrative years ago. Oh, no. It's to assist those that's already done. They're suffering and, like they're in pain, and we need to give them a dignified way so they come out of their pain. Then now it evolved. And now it's for the mental health community and those that are suffering. And they give you the worst case scenarios as to when it would be given as an option. And I'm going to show you here some examples of who is applying for the medically assisted suicide, MAiD, euthanasia. You're going to see who's putting an application. There's one here where a woman put in an application for MAiD and she was approved because of rent. Yes, you heard me. And it was approved. So when they tell you, oh no, we're going to have checks and balances, and oh no, it's no, it's not for, no, it's going to be the most stringent and the most BS. So now it's now morphed now to babies. So first it was just those that are in terminal pain. Now it's the mental health. And now Quebec tabled for babies. Babies who are born with any deficiencies to have the right to euthanasia. And I'm thinking, when did a baby have the ability to give consent? Because see, all of the arguments before was, oh no, it's going to be consent. And even those in mental health, you're at a state at that point in time where you're believing that like, this is it, I'm done. And as a conqueror myself of clinical diagnosis of depression, anxiety, it is so real that at that moment, the solution is to end it all for so many reasons. For me, it was the fact that I was so upset and disappointed with myself in listening to others that told me that my standards were too high and making me doubt myself and doubt my standards, where I allowed my guard to drop and say yes to a man that I had no business saying yes to. And as a result of that, all hell broke loose. And then I was mad at myself. It wasn't, suicide because he broke my heart and he left me. No, I am the one that left because he had no intentions of leaving. His intention was to stay and make life miserable and have a safe place to dump on. So it wasn't, he left. No. He made it very clear. If this is going to end, it's going to be you. I'm not leaving. I'm not getting out of this. You want to go, it's going to have to be you. Made it very clear that he intended to have his cake and eat it too. When the truth comes to you and you, whatever conversation you had with yourself, many reasons why someone says, I'm done. And I did it, and I thought of doing it because I was so mad at myself for allowing myself to bring children into hurt, to bring children into brokenness. As a young lady, as a child, I always said I never wanted to have children to expose them to this world of brokenness by the decision of a man who is not integral, a man who is selfish and puts himself first, or a man who turns around and be Jekyll and Hyde. It was never, I want to be independent. I don't want to have children. No, it was never that. So many people, when they decide or they make the decision of wanting to end, it's never for always, I should say, it's not always for reasons that they really believe this is it. At that point, at that present moment, they believe that that is the best solution to end. And for me, I just thought that my children would be better off without me, because I thought I failed them. I thought I let them down. I thought it was me. I was like, oh my gosh, I failed you. I let you down. I gave you this life that I thought and so it was beating up on me, and I thought I was the worst, that I did not make better decisions. So it was a way to punish me, and believing that with me out the picture, their life would be better because somebody will adopt them and they'll have a better mother, better, and all this, you're going through this fairy tale conversation as to why life would be better. It wasn't life would be better for me. It wasn't about me. It was about I believe life would be better for them if I had committed suicide, because I believe I failed them. And then a voice said, if you're willing to do this as a result of how much you believed you failed them, as a result of how much you loved them, and you thought you failed them, there's nobody under this sun, on this earth, that's going to love them as much as you did. So much so you're willing to end life hoping that they will find a better. Nobody will ever want to sacrifice their life for them the way you just did, and all the other sacrifices. If I was allowed on the MAiD, and in the depression I was and anxiety I would have been an amazing candidate, because I am ready to go. I was ready to go. So much so I was on a bridge looking over to see which vehicle was going to go faster. So when I jump, that's how serious I was. And then many people, they have their experiences and they say the same. You just hear a very, very audible voice that says, are you sure that their life would be better? Are you sure? Everything that you are concerned about, are you sure? Because once you're gone, there's nobody there to protect them. Who's standing against who's gonna do that? Who's gonna be losing sleep, and who's who? I would have been a perfect candidate. Many, and now I'm so happy I didn't. Why? Because I was able to be that mother and make sure that I do not drop my guard again, and know that every one of my child know right from wrong. Whatever decisions they make now, whatever they do right now, it's not as a result of not being trained and not knowing better. They now have to walk their path, and they have to stand and give their own account for their decisions. Nobody can say it's because of. Well, no, they could say it, and a lot of people are going to buy it, but they know, God knows, truth, karma, everything knows, just watching them, knowing you're talking a bag of crap, right? So it's the same thing. These mental health men, women, teenagers, young adults that are contemplating suicide and they want their life to end, it is as a result of self-hate is one of the reasons. It's not because they really, and if they're allowed to be in a space where all of their fears and all of their worries and the worst scenarios and their mind is not 5 stories down the lane, and they're able to be in a space that's going to help them be present, teach them about mindfulness. I'm very grateful for the programs I had, the mindfulness programs I had, to be present, how to be present in the moment. Yes, you have fears. Yes, you have concerns. Yes. And this is where you are right now. This is what you can do right now. Are any of those things true? Yes, you're afraid of them. Yes, as any of those things true. And when fear, disappointment, blame, shame cripples you, all you need is a safe place, a safe space, or someone who's walked that, not just in theory, but has walked it and say, yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I know your present mindset at this moment. Now, let's work through how you're feeling, your worst fears, why you believe that ending your life right now. What is the pains? What's the hurts? What's the guilt? What's the anger? Dealing with that and making that person see possibility, making that person heal themselves, healing themselves, forgiving themselves, seeing that their present situation is not forever, seeing and allowing them to look in the mirror and realize that these things are happening. Why? And just be honest in that whole process, and knowing at the end of the day, they're doing the best that they can with what they have. And the fact that they are in so much pain mentally as a result of the trauma, the hurts, it could be the diagnosis, it could be whatever it is, allowing them to know that others have had that same diagnosis, that same lived life experience. This is why speaking about your life and not being ashamed is so important. Others need to hear your story. I heard what a very influential coach said to people. It was a master class, it was a master class, and I just shook my head and I was like, wow. And this person's well regarded, and he said, nobody wants to hear your story. Nobody wants to hear your story? Not even your mama want to hear your story. Just her. And I'm thinking, wow. His statement was, if you're gonna, write a book about your story, it's about how to make money. It was all about the making of the money, the wealth, the running down of this almighty dollar. And it's like, no, sometimes your story is not about the money. Your story is about that person that needs to hear that somebody else walked their story. I was like, we need to speak our stories. We need to have true conversations to assist the mental health, to assist those that are suffering, believing that they are the only ones. Their situation is unique. The more they hear people that's going through the same and has come on the other side of it, they're like, oh my gosh, you went through it. And it's like, yeah, and it's going to be okay. Because at the end of the day, they believe it's not going to be okay. They believe, why am I still here? Why am I living? It's not going to be okay. They need to hear your stories. So now the MAiD has gone from assisting the suicide of those who are in critical pain to now being approved to those with mental health, depression, anxiety. Now Quebec tabled for babies. I don't know how babies are going to give consent. We know that that's a bag of nonsense. They're going to go to the parents, and they're going to go to the parents' emotions and tell the parents the baby is suffering. Don't you believe that, instead of keeping the baby and have them suffering, that you should just let them go and let them go in peace? Then they paint this dire picture of how life is going to be hard for this baby. They paint all the negatives, instead of having parents whose children has this diagnosis and show them how the children are thriving. Each one assist one. Better yet, when we put all this billions of dollars in finding out the why behind children are being birthed with all of these. I'm sure that they don't want that conversation. They just want you to continue to consume the nutrition, the toxic water, the lifestyle of stress. They want you to consume that because they benefit. Why? You consume their products. You buy their services. They're making money off of toxic. They know that it's going to affect your birth, but they just want your money. They don't want to pay for the consequences of what they've put into your food system, your air supply, and your water. They just want you to keep working as worker bees, clock in, clock out, make them rich. You're sick, your baby's sick. Oh, just kill them because they're going to have a hard life. And that's one less strain, quote unquote, I'm putting quotations, strain on them. One less, quote unquote, taking up their resources, but you still click on, you assist, but you're still here checking in and checking out and buying, and then you die, and then another circle start all over. At the end of the day, their bottom line is, how can we make you make me more money? I save more, but I am not going to have to invest in you and your children and all of the dramas that my stuff is causing. No, I have to save money. However, I still need you to work. I still need you to clock in and clock out and just live believing that you came to this earth to be a badge number, to be an employee number, to be a worker. And then you pay all these taxes and you don't get any benefit for it. And then you die. And we give you little trinkets, a little of old age money and retirement money. And even when it's time for you to retire, you still got to check in and check out and still bring income in, because you cannot survive off of what you have put in your blood, sweat, and tears into your plan. You don't. So now it's gone to the babies, and it's not to the babies, for the parents of those babies to paint this dire image. So that's been approved. Now they're now making commercials, making euthanasia beautiful, assisting suicide beautiful. And that is where we are right now with my video. I'm going to show you this Quebec fashion house who hired an Ontario, actually Toronto-based company to create this video telling you that death, right? Being in the hospital, there's no beauty in that. You're going to hear the wording for yourself. You're going to see it for yourself. And in the description here, you're going to see I pinned it, and it's also in the description for the petition that is being done. Yes, many of you is like, I'm tired of petitions. The petitions don't do anything. That is the lie that they do want you to believe, because they're like, well, look where we are. Yeah, we could have been much worse if we did not have people pushing back. And as a result of Ontarians, Torontonians, Canadians, Albertans, Saskatchewans, like Newfoundlands, everybody is pushing back. Canada is not where they had wanted it to be. So please do not get fatigued. And also, pushing back and saying no to this is important. And not just to this, every agenda. However, we keep these agendas coming to us generational, because we are not going to the heart of the matter, the root of this energy that seems to have a respawn, a second wind, just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. Why? Because we don't get rid of it. We give it enough life to stay dormant, and then it comes back because we play around with this thing. We play around with this thing. That's for another video. That's for another podcast. That's for another mirror image of you looking yourself in the mirror and coming to a comfortable conversation with yourself on, do I really want to have this energy come back again in the next generation? Because every generation is trying to beat us down. It's trying to beat us down into submission for us to get tired. This thing plays a long game. It plays a long game. And it takes casualties every time it breaches itself and comes up for air. It takes a generation. The intention is to eventually beat out of humanity that desire to fight back. It's wanting to beat it out. That is why it is so hell-bent on coming after our children and conditioning our children through the adults who are allowing it by subjecting their children to this energy. It's wanting to create a generation from kindergarten and up that just complies. Believe that the government and whoever has the platform is the ethical ones. It's wanting to create a human race that no longer fights back. And if there are some that's fighting back, the intention is so that we truly are fringe. We truly are a small amount. That is their long game. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can interrupt that long game. We can create a turnover. We can regain possession and turn it back towards our goal line. And our goal line is to have a Canadian society where our mirror image is truly ethical, truly looking out for each other, truly represents dignity and respect, truly represents freedom, autonomy of your body, the ability to have a conscience and move and make a decision on your conscience and not be coerced, not be shamed, not be pressured. A society that stands against all manner of hate speech. A society, a Canadian society that is disgusted by any leader that brings in segregation in any form. And at the end of the day, a society that truly values the human being as a sovereign man and woman who make decisions, free will and choice, no repercussions, and ultimately a Canadian society where we are truly proud to call ourselves Canadian. Where when you hear Canadian, when you see Canadian, you truly see a nation of people that are standing strong and say, heck to the no. We are not going to let any political party and any sunshine boy with bright teeth and nice socks and a boyish smile con us out of our human rights. So, and any of his supporting cast in his drama skit. So here we go. You should see this. It is the heading, Canadian retailer Simons releases commercial celebrating euthanasia. And as we scroll down, so that's the heading. I'm just gonna scroll down because there's some commercials there. They're not paying me for that. I'm just gonna get straight to it, because another thing is that we have been trained to be easily distracted. So I'm very mindful of not giving you any distractions that's gonna take away from your focus. Okay? So Quebec-based fashion retailer Maison Simons, or la Maison Simons, has released a 3-minute film promoting euthanasia, presenting the final days of an artist before her death. So death is now art, truly. Okay? Dying in a hospital, and it's in quotations, dying in a hospital is not what's natural. So everybody whose loved ones has died in a hospital, it's not natural. I guess need to die outside in the bushes. That's not what's soft, are the words spoken by the now deceased MAiD patient Jennifer. Jenny, at the start of the film. What about this is natural? The film was produced by the Toronto-based advertising agency Broken Heart Love Affair and shot along the beaches of Tofino, BC in October. So you notice the energy chain? Quebec connected to Toronto, connected to BC. Do you see that? You see the connection? Follow the line? You follow the V? You follow the check mark? BC, Quebec, Toronto, BC. What shape does that make? A check mark, a V. Well, you're not going to be victorious here, all right? No, this energy, you're gonna return to whence you came. To where you came from, you're gonna return. The shaman blamed that this energy has been successful thus far in bringing on to Canadians. It's going to be turned back on it. The shame and the blame is going to return to it tenfold. All those that participated, that shame that they've wanted to unleash to Canadians is going to come down on them and their house. So said, so done. So be it. And the blame that they've wanted to unleash on Canadians is going to be returned to them tenfold. So said, so done. So be it. Continue. It's obviously not a commercial campaign. Former CEO of Simons and the man behind the film's concept. So the CEO of the fashion retailer, he is the man behind the concept of the film that reached out to a Toronto advertising company that decided to go to BC to shoot the film. So he says in a short accompanying the video, the link to this is in the, no, actually, I think the link, I'm going to put the link now. Hold on. I put the link to the petition in the, I'm going to go over here. Hold on. I'm just going in the back here of my YouTube, and I'm going to put it in the chat, and I'm also going to put it in the description right below the link for the petition. You're going to see the link for the readings that I'm doing right now. Okay, perfect. So now let me get back to this. All right, so you can just refresh and you'll see it if you are looking at it live. If not, by the time you click it, it would already be in the description and also in the chat. So he says here, we sincerely believe that companies have a responsibility to participate in communities and to help build the communities that we want to live in tomorrow and leave to our children. Okay, that came out of this man's mouth. He said that it is, we sincerely believe. Who's the we? Him and the others like him that sit at their round table and look down from the ivory towers. They decided, the we sincerely believe that companies have a responsibility to participate in communities. So the money that you make these people acquire by your commerce and you supporting them and them using it, and they're going in stocks and they're building, not just from your spending, they're diversifying their portfolios, okay? The monies ultimately that we are contributing to them, they're now deciding that they believe that companies have a responsibility to participate in communities and to help build the communities that we, again, who's the we, want to live in tomorrow. So they want to live in a community where this is common. Everything they've brought in is common. And they want to leave this type for our children. Obviously, their children who are going to be born into classism, that they are at the top. So they want to leave this type of environment for their children to be grandfather claused into. They're going to hand them down this legacy of this environment and this community that they have left for their children. Their children are going to be the ones that they're going to pass the baton on to, and our children are going to be the subjects to their children. And this is the lifestyle that they say, because they say we, as I said, mirror image, the premise of mirror image, it says, let us make man in our image. There is a we. There's an original we that said, let us make man in our image. And now we have another we that's asserting itself and wanting to create the communities that they want. Before I play the 3-minute video, let's continue reading. Since becoming a legal practice in 2016, medical assistance in dying, MAiD, has become more widespread each year. Let's let that sink in. And in 2021, so that was a year after the pandemic, accounted for almost 5% of deaths. They were so 5% of the deaths in 2021 was as a result of MAiD, but we all heard that all the deaths was about the V, right? The COVID. However, it just said here in 2021, when nobody was talking about these deaths, because everything, and I'm sure these ones were counted as COVID deaths, right? Almost 5% of the deaths in Quebec, which is up from 2.4% in 2019. So in 2019, this was already happening. In 2021, it accounted for 5% of the deaths in Quebec alone. Nobody talked about those numbers. And those deaths being as a result of MAiD, not because of anything else. Nobody, but I'm sure those deaths, those 5%, were not being flagged as MAiD deaths. And that 5% was up 2.4 since 2019. Based on these statistics, it hardly seems like a procedure that needs promoting. What is this article is saying? It's obviously being promoted, so why push it even more? Seeing that assisted suicide it's gone up. 2021 was also the year that Canada opened up the medical procedure to people with non-terminal physical illness. Remember, originally this was about terminal illness and pain. And then 2021, they said, you know what? Let's not just make it for them. Although we told you that it's just going to be for them, you know what? We're going to now open up the procedure for people that is not non-terminal. There's no physical illness. Now we heard, and it just said there, next year, which is 2023, it will be open up to more people with mental health illnesses. Will that increase? And that, listen. So the eligibility of who they say this was is now shifting. The eligibility, who's going to be eligible, is now shifting. So the question is, will that increase eligibility usher in another jump in the proportion of deaths? There is an energy that is wanting to just kill. First, they said it was going to be for terminal physical illness. Then, as I told you, it shifted to non-terminal. Now, next year, it's going to be for mental health. And I also said to Quebec also tabled a bill in Parliament for it to now be possible for babies. We know babies aren't saying, I want it. It's going to be for the parents. The film is beautifully shot. It is a beautifully shot collage of light, colors, nature, friendships, and puppetry, accompanied by the slogan, all is beauty. Let me tell you, the one thing that is also consistent with this energy, it presents itself beautifully. It presents itself gorgeous, handsome, friendly, harmless, funny. Yeah. But listen, make no mistake, it's a wolf in that fuzzy, warm sheep's clothing. And listen to the title, All is Beauty. No different than the title of a lot of these bills they bring in that has a title that makes you think it's about something virtuous and moral and fair. And when you go into the meat and potato of it, when you actually look into it, you realize it's far from. It represents everything opposite. And this film is the same. There's also the aspect of having access to this much money to fund your death. I'm going to read that again. There's also the aspect of having access to this much money to fund your death. Yeah. When we've heard that people say, oh, money, son, they say, no, money doesn't solve problems, because those with the money, you realize that they are miserable. Because they've done so much for this love of money. You've done everything for the pursuit of happiness, that once you got what you thought was going to make you happy, you realize that it doesn't. And that is when reality really hits you. And then they feel like, you know what? Nothing is going to fill this deep, dark hole. Because I thought this was going to solve it. This thing called money, fame, fortune, accolades, people loving me. So many comedians that make people laugh. The late Robin Williams. People that we say have it all and they put on a show that their life is so nice, but you can see their actions that they're miserable, they're unhappy. Because happy people, there's certain things happy people don't do. Happy people don't have the time to go around making other people miserable. That's one. So when someone is out there and you're like, man, again, they're not happy. Because when you're happy, you're in bliss. You're not even thinking of, you're in bliss. You're not out there finding and digging up and just trying to stir the pot. You're too happy. Truly happy people. Another sign of truly happy people is that there's a sense of contentment. They're full. They're full. They're not looking for anybody to fill them. Make me happy. Fill me. They're out there looking for people to fill them. Another DNA of happy people, they're very comfortable by themselves. They love me time. You'll find a lot of unhappy people that pretend to be happy. They're busy. They do not like quiet time. They do not like to be alone. This is why people run out from one relationship and they go right into. That space of being by themselves and being alone with themselves, alone with their thoughts, alone with their conscience, alone with reflecting, they can't. So they have to have somebody, a bed warmer, somebody to be right there to just keep their mind occupied, keep them busy, because they cannot be by themselves. That is why when you come out, when a person that is running from one relationship to another, like bam, like it's just bam, 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 like there's no space, real space, not fake space where they pretend that, oh no, I had a year by myself, but no, you didn't. No, you didn't have a year, 2 years, 6. No, you were never by yourself. There was something on the side, something waiting, or you were dipping in and out. But to truly make a conscious decision that you're going to be by yourself and get to know yourself and reckon with yourself and wrestle with yourself and become honest with yourself and do that real self excavating. No. A truly happy person is okay in being by themselves. And I'm not talking about those people that are by themselves because they're terrified of being around other people, or they hate, of being around other people because of trust issues. No. Again, being by yourself has been disguised in so many different ways. I'm speaking about truly being and loving yourself, dating yourself, being by yourself, taking yourself out, like truly loving coming home or going out and you're by your, like truly loving it and knowing there's no exit strategy. There's no, okay, I'm by myself for a couple hours and because there's something waiting or someone waiting. No, there is nothing waiting except you. It's just you waiting on you. And you're like, and to be okay in that. That is a person that truly, the joy and happiness is two different things. Joy is inside. Happiness is what are the things, the people, the trappings that make me feel excited, keep me on that high. I want to be happy. It's a high. Joy requires nothing external to activate it. It's no roller coaster. Joy is just monotone, flatline, and you're just smiling. There's nothing external that is jolting it, that's charging it up. It's just an inner peace, an inner, deep down, happy, internal joy, contentment. The smile is authentic. You can look around and know that I am by myself as a result of loving myself, where there's no conscious, there is no terror going on in my head. I can be in a place of quiet. I don't have to be around noise to keep distracted. I can actually be in quiet and be by myself and allow my thoughts to come. Because you know why? There are no terrifying thoughts anymore. There's no thoughts of regret. And you want to run away from your thoughts. You want to run away from yourself. So you keep distracted. So many people with a lot of money, the money and all the things that the money has afforded them and awarded them kept them busy, kept them from being. The verb of to be. All of the money, all the trappings have kept them busy. And something comes that put them on pause. They can't be busy anymore, and they cannot live with themselves. It's like now it's too much. So that statement, wanted to expand on it when it says there's also the aspect of having access to this much money to fund your own death. They talk about feeding the homeless and all that. A lot of these people, instead of killing yourself, donate all your money and just be like the people that you say you want to help. Start living their life. Hand over, and they say the rich man, it's easier for a camel to get into heaven, to get through a needle than a rich man getting into the gates of heaven. A lot of these rich people that give all this money and give on, give, and then it's like, why don't you just get rid of it all then and have a true live life experience of the working poor? They would prefer to kill themselves to act than to be there, because now it's shame and blame, because it's like, oh my God, what will my friends think? I'm falling from grace. I'm no longer popular. So I prefer to kill myself in this state of popularity than to just let it all go. A man in Ontario applied for MAiD last month because he was about to lose his house. So again, remember they told you MAiD was for those with life-threatening terminal illness. And then they said it's mental health for next year. Then they're saying it's for babies. Well, now we see this an example of people who have applied for MAiD and got it. And these are the reasons why they want to kill themselves. And they've been approved. The man was about to lose his house. And he stated he would rather be dead than homeless. You see, pride. Now, this man didn't think about all the homeless people that has been living homeless. Because when he saw these homeless people, he looked down. It was shameful. So he preferred to kill himself than for his friends and his community to see him homeless. Death is better than falling from grace, falling from a pedestal, right? Well, I guess the homeless people, if this man feels that it's better to be dead than homeless, he's sending a message to the homeless people then, right? Then why don't you kill yourself than to be homeless? Ooh. A Toronto woman was approved for MAiD, and all these hyperlinks, when you click it, I'm sure it's taking you to the stories. A Toronto woman was approved for medically assisted death because she couldn't find housing where she will not be exposed to cigarette smoke and air fresheners. Oh my, I needed to see that. A Toronto woman was approved for MAiD because she couldn't find housing where she will not be exposed to cigarette smoke and air fresheners. They approved her. She put in an application and she was approved to kill herself. She was approved to have assistance in killing herself because her reasons is that she couldn't find housing. This is what they approved. Listen, this MAiD needs to be revisited. It needs to be revisited because they lied. They said that this was only going to be for this, and this reasons, and for these and these people. Now, she ultimately paused her application after an outpouring of support from strangers who read about her story. Yes, I'm happy, and two, that's enabling. So then the next time she's in a situation where she's uncomfortable, she's going to believe that she's going to be rescued by people who, I'm happy she stayed, yes. And I truly hope that part of her staying, someone intervened at some point and said to her, my dear, let's have a conversation as to what you believed was worth ending your life over. So yes, I'm happy that people came out to support her. Did she truly understand that killing herself for these reasons is something that ought to be looked into? There have also been cases of Army vets having MAiD suggested to them as an alternative to treating their PTSD and other war-related ailments. Ladies and gentlemen, our Army veterans are being suggested to, so whoever they're going to for aid and assistance, these professionals are suggesting MAiD to our vets as an alternative to treating the PTSD, which is as a result of going to fight for us for wars that are being waged by greedy men in ivory towers. Our vets are being exposed to post-traumatic stress disorders as a result of the war-related ailments from going out and risking their life because men in ivory towers says, let's wage war over stuff, over oil, over land, over minerals, over territory, over... And our men and our women are sacrificing their life because they sign on the dotted line that they can't refuse. And after risking their life to fight these men and women wars, and I say women because now we have chancellors and prime ministers and that are women that are going into war for superficial reasons. The lie that, oh, we're there fighting for people's rights and freedoms. No, let's go to the root of the true cause of the wars and not what's being dressed up. And our vets are being suggested to MAiD as an alternative for treating their PTSD. Given how difficult and expensive it can be to access mental health support in Canada, opening up the eligibility next year to provide with mental illnesses will surely exacerbate this problem. You know, to talk about expensive to access, you know, the monies when Justin Trudeau go and spend $6,000 a night on a hotel, and Canadians are thinking, oh yes, because he's representing Canada. You know what? For 2 years we've been doing Zooms. We've been doing, listen, these ministers that saw it fit to lock us down, they need to start having their conferences from Capitol Hill, Parliament Hill, all the hills. Just go virtual. Leave our taxpayers' money alone. Do the same effectiveness. Put yourself on a big screen TV, wherever. Stay your backsides at home. Save our monies, because that's $6,000 that you're spending a night. Because I remembered for 2-3 years, people could not go to anybody's funeral. They could not see their loved ones buried. They could not attend a burial. So as much as everybody wanted to go and pay tribute to the passing of, we had Canadians who could not travel to see the burial of their immediate family. People who were truly like connected to them. Not in symbolism, but I mean truly family. They couldn't. They had to look across on virtual. Like, it was painful. And Canadians see it fit now for Justin to be flying to pay respects when Canadians could not pay respects to their immediate family. Listen, Zoom it, virtual it, until Canadians are out of this inflation, and all nations of the world should have told their leaders, no, keep your butt at home, because we couldn't go. We couldn't go. Pay respects from home. We are under an inflation. We cannot survive. That's $6,000 a night? No, we don't approve. A lot of these things need to start coming back to the people to approve. Not to cabinets and councils, because they're all bought off. No, you know what? No, that's $6,000 a night, Justin. We need it here. You know that $1.3 million governor general for your week? No, we need it here. Listen, that is why they don't have Canadians like myself in places and spaces that require common sense and require truth and require fairness. You're really for the people? And you know what your people went through for 3 years and what they sacrificed and what they couldn't do? I'm going to send my regrets, my heartfelt regrets. I'm going to have the Canadian people send regrets. We're going to send our love across the pond. We're going to send our love across the pond. We are going to join you on virtual, the Canadian people. We're going to find a way. But you know what? We need to keep our resources, including our money, close to home. The people here need to get back on their feet. And I'm sure that you would totally want that for your people, seeing that we're still your subjects. That you would want the people to get back on their feet. And you would want to truly see fairness, where people could not have said goodbye to their loved ones. They were not afforded the dignity and respect to travel, to spend $159 a night for a hotel, to go and bury their loved ones. But you were able to spend $6,000. Listen, when Canadians truly desire true leadership, I believe Canadians would get it. Until then, Canadians are going to get the leadership that they say they deserve. And this is why my hat goes off to Alberta. Alberta said, no, we need leadership that put us first. And defend that decision unapologetically, and then say to those who dare to say, oh my gosh, you put your people first. You say, yes, sure, Skippy, I did. Do you have a problem with that? You have a problem with me putting my people first? It goes on, and you can read it. The link goes there. So these are a few of the examples of who has been approved for MAiD. Now, let's see this 3-minute video. And no, before I do that, this is the petition. That link is also in the description. This is the petition that is being signed to tell this fashion house, La Maison Simons, to stop promoting euthanasia. This is the message that they have over here. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And it says, Simons promotion of euthanasia with your video commercial, all is beautiful, leads me to boycott your company. Euthanasia, MAiD, is about killing. Killing is not beautiful. Euthanasia is not about living a complete life. It is about caring for someone, but it is about abandoning someone to death. So I'm going to read that over again. Euthanasia is not about living a complete life. It is not about caring for someone, but it is about abandoning someone to death. That makes more sense. It is not about fulfillment, but ending life without fulfillment. It is not about friends and closure, but it is about ending life without closure. And then you put your name there. I love that. It tells you what it is not, and it tells you what it is. Clear. So now let's head all over and listen to this 3-minute video.
Dying in a hospital is not what's natural. That's not what's soft. In these kind of moments, you need softness. It can take dying to figure out what living is actually like. I spent my life filling my heart with beauty, with nature, with connection. So I choose to fill my final moments with the same. Last breaths are sacred. When I imagine my final days, I see music. I see the ocean. I see cheesecake. Even now, as I seek help to end my life, with all the pain, and in these final moments, there is still so much beauty. You just have to be brave enough to see it. And seeing the rhythms of what's going to keep going after I'm gone bring a lot of comfort.
I saw that and I felt a woman that is not at peace. Jennifer is not at peace with her decision. I sense regret in this decision that she knows has to happen now, and all this money and all this stuff is being spent on it. I also feel hope, where I could sense that she was hoping that there was another way. She's hoping that it did not have to be this way. As much as they're trying to make it look beautiful and make it look like, no, I could sense in her eyes, in her tone, in her face, even those laughter is plastic. I sense the trueness of Jennifer. I'm sure they probably call her Jen. All of the facades that's outside, I could sense regret, remorse, hoping that it could have played out differently. There's not a sense in finality and closure. I don't sense that. And yet, even in her own words, I heard, again, it comes back to what I heard her say, and I'm going to paraphrase. It's a sense of comfort, her experiencing all this, knowing that it's going to continue to happen when she's gone. Now, when they try to paint this as this beautiful way of you deciding to commit suicide, because that's what it is, and being assisted in committing suicide, stating that death isn't soft in a bed, in a hospital room. And these memories, she's going to take with her because she's experienced it, and it's going to give her comfort to know that these beautiful things and everything she's experienced is going to still be. People still going to participate to be on the beach. They're going to, all of this eating and communion and laughter and people doing all of the artistry things. She knows that people around the world, families, are going to participate in this because she just did. Now, is it not possible for you to still participate in all of these beautiful acts of life? Because that's what it is. All of these things that this film just depicted is life, energy, living. You cannot participate in those and hold those memories and allow the natural process of leaving to occur, holding those memories in your heart. The same way that the natural process of beginning started, to allow the natural, not man-made determination, the natural process of leaving to also occur, while holding all of those memories still with you. It's man, again, asserting itself. The energy of man asserting itself, of being in control. Man loves control. When they do not like things they don't like allowing things to play themselves out. So they find ways to manipulate an end. And that's the energy. And that's the energy in everything that we've been seeing, personally and professionally. That energy, a lot of people throw in the word narcissism, that energy of control that is not allowing natural progression of things to happen. So they're stirring and meddling, poking, insinuating, finding a way to assert themselves to create a desired outcome. They're not allowing things to play themselves out. And as a result of that, they're altering authentic and organic decisions. That is the energy of man that plays God, that creates their desired outcome. They do not want to leave things to be, because that is where God, the Most High, Jehovah, Elohim, Allah, that is where that supreme energy comes into play, where it designates your last breath. Man says, oh no, no, Most High, who do you think you are? No, I, you see that word I am going to determine my last breath. I, not you, not nature, not time, I. You see that I? Be very careful of that I. That I determine who has freedom. I determine who moves and when they move. I determine what your children do. I determine where you go. I determine when you go and how you go. I decide who we tolerate and who we don't tolerate. I determine when to stir the pot to hate this group. I'm the puppet master that pull the strings. I told you that the world can't sustain its own beings. I tell you that my wisdom is supreme. My modeling is supreme. That energy of the I am determining mandates. I am telling you. You see that I. Now, funny, they like to talk about the we when the we supports the I. Because the we would mean that there is a group, a body of. When we had the opportunity for the we to come across around the table and exchange conversation of what's happening, they decide, again, the I decide who's going to be at this table. I decide which experts I want to listen to. I decide. Ultimately, it's I. We heard on the stand of Justin Trudeau that he is the somebody that did the something, the I. I call the shots, not the people. I determine your freedom, not you. I lie and tell you about hell, and I lie and tell you about what heaven is and how to get there. I don't allow the Most High to reveal truth to you. I decide how I present truth to you. I decide. I don't allow you to have critical thinking. I don't allow you. And all these I's have a we. And we decide that this is the best thing for you. We decide that this is the community that we want to leave for our children. A community of eyes that play God. I decide I want to be a mad scientist. I decide I want to do gain of function. I decided I want to put things together that has no business being mixed together. Because my curiosity is so great that I am going to do whatever it takes to fulfill what would happen if I take this and put it together. My curiosity is more supreme than your life. Then the I tells you that your freedom ends where my nose begins. I didn't care about your freedom when I allowed my God complex to mix species and beings and things. I didn't care about your freedom. But once my desires have come to pass, I am now going to tell you, oh, by the way, you need to tell those people that their freedom ends where your nose begins. So let's have some eyes around this table called Event 201, Clyde X. Let's have the group of the eyes. Let's sit at the table, all these eye complexes and these God eyes. Let's come together, fly in on our jets when we tell people about climate change. Let the eyes come together and become a we. And then we decide what they and their life is going to be like to suit us. When Canadians truly require to have ethical leadership that are for the people, when Canadians are tired of being gaslighted by unions that go on CP24, CDTV and try to make a petition as if what they're doing is for us and it's all about the I, them. Because when humanity had the chance to truly come together and stand up for humanity, every one of these special interest groups fought back, said nothing, allowed their own to be railroaded. And they're not fighting for those that lost. They're not fighting for their own anymore. They're fighting for all of the eyes that stuck together and allowed their union brothers and union sisters to lose. And now they're here on all these news front as if they're here to champion the workers. No, you're championing yourselves. The I. Cost of inflation. Yeah. And it's about you and yours, not about ours. So again, when Canadians and Ontarians and Torontonians are ready for true ethical leadership, I believe you'll find it. And I believe you're no longer going to allow these nonsense to gaslight you, to throw gas in your face and light up your sight. Light up your sight with a whole heap of gas that you can't see clearly. I believe you're going to come to a point where you're going to overcome that. I truly believe it. I truly believe you're going to be immune to all of these tactics, so much so that when these tactics come, you get offended. You're like, there's a righteous anger that comes in, that balls up in you when they start doing this again. It's like, okay, now you truly, you really believe that we are, like, you know what? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3, 4, 5 times, shame on me. But you know, it's done. The shaming is done. And I believe there's going to erect a righteous anger within Canadians, that you're going to now become angry every time these eyes and these we's open their mouth. You are going to become disgusted. I believe there is going to come a day. There is going to be a day where we're going to see Canadians truly become immune and disgusted and sick to their stomach every time these people open their mouths. And you're going to see right through their BS. The working poor, the middle class, that's going to be the demographic that is going to see that their end is a ticking time bomb if they don't pull together. And no longer are you going to have these nice, smiley, well-dressed, union, upper class, upper middle class make you think that what they're doing is in the best interest of you. I believe you're going to come to a time of being smarter than that. And you're going to now seek out leadership that represents you. There's gatekeepers that nominates the people that represent you. And you're going to even stop that. I believe we're going to have, I believe it. I believe there's going to be a day where the working poor and the middle class is going to have enough. I believe it. I truly believe it. And it starts with these things where you are going to no longer boycott for a little bit, a couple months, and then revive them back. You're going to boycott to bleed them dry. All the money that they've accumulated, when it says there's gonna come a day where the riches of the righteous is going to be handed over. They're laying up all their riches and it's going to be transferred. You're going to make them bleed dry. All of this wealth that they've accumulated on the backs and the blood of the working poor and the middle class. Their wealth is going to be transferred. We are going to see it happen. I truly believe it. And it starts with this. Boycott for life. Boycott to drain. Not just to send a message and then they're like, okay, we're sorry. And then you go back. No. Boycott to drain. We're not waiting for one person to drain any swamp. We're not going to wait for people like Rob Ford to want to end the gravy train. We're not going to because we're always waiting for this person to do it for us. No, we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and do it ourselves. We all have to adopt a mindset of ending this for our children, just like they want to do it for their children, for our children, to be in an environment where this no longer haunts them. And they're going to be taught these tactics. They're going to be taught this history is what they're going to be taught. How did Canadians allow 2021 and 2022, 2020, 2021 and 2022 to occur? No shame, no blame. It's called revision and reflection. And we're reflecting and we're revising and we're revisiting to revise, to refine, to truly never make it happen again. And that require adults who are ready to teach the lessons to the next generation so they can stand on guard so this doesn't happen again. Euthanasia is murder. It's assisting someone to end their life. It's no longer what they say, the lie, just like all the other lies of saying, oh, it's just this little thing. No. And we're going to train and teach a generation of that tactic of, oh no, don't worry, it's just this little thing. They're going to learn the lessons of our past, which is their present, of how we are, where we are, why. We believe the lie that they just want a little. It's just for this group. No, you're coming for the whole shebang, which is called society. It's not just for a little group. So we're going to say no to this and we're going to assist. We're going to assist, not engage and promote and enable. We're going to assist. So if you say this is about assisting those in terminally illness and they're in pain, we're going to assist and find all the monies that we're going to insist and assist their comfort. Hire more PSWs. Give PSWs full-time benefits. Those that assist these in their palatable life and we're going to invest in that care, the care of the transitioning of leaving the human experience. We're going to invest in that and make it, as she say, soft. Whatever painkillers we need, whatever naturopathic solutions, holistic, whatever, we're going to end the barriers of natural solutions and medicines that relieve pain. Because if it's about soft, there's many ways naturally where we can make the pain of whatever they're suffering soft and not play God. Allow God to be Allow the Most High timing death to be. Celebrate, embrace that process. Assist those that are there. Allow naturopathic, holistic remedies, exercises, procedures, routines to flush out the toxins in the blood and allow the blood to circulate, allow them to be able to think clearer by changing their diet, changing what they're putting in, allow clarity, allow so much things can be done to alleviate the pain, quote unquote, that you're saying they're experiencing, instead of pumping them with more medicine. We can bring compassionate care back into healthcare so that this stage of the human experience is played out in the way it ought to play out, and man takes their hands out of it. This is Lady O. Stay in action with faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say. Click the links in the description. Sign the petition. Share this. Share the petition. Share the link. Share this podcast. However you want to. Let more people know about this. And let's start pushing back and support those that are pushing back against it. And start to become involved in the government. Start to become involved in the governing of the government that is making these decisions. We need to find ethical leadership. They're not hard to find. They're all around us. And we need to put those people in the places and spaces to lead. And lead Canada out of this dark abyss that we're heading into. Boycott to bleed dry. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.